Welcome, everyone, to Asian Pacific Voices Radio, where you'll find stimulating conversations that explore diverse topics and stories impacting our Asian Pacific American communities. I'm your host, Arnold Chun. Today on Asian Pacific Voices, we sit down with rising star and trailblazer who is best known as the final Blue Ranger in Power Rangers Dino Fury and Cosmic Fury. Born and raised in Kaneohe, Hawaii, he brings his diverse heritage and deep-rooted values into every role he plays. With a background in martial arts and a passion for storytelling, he's breaking barriers for Native Hawaiian and multi-ethnic representation on screen, one powerful performance at a time. It is my pleasure to welcome Kainalu Moya on Asian Pacific Voices Radio. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you, Arnold. Thank you. That was an awesome welcome.
So, man, I haven't been to Hawaii in probably 15 years because I got 3 kids, but let me tell you, I always enjoyed just the rich diversity of culture that you guys have to get the privilege to grow up in. So you grew up in Kaneohe, Oahu, right?
Yes, born and raised from there, from 0 to 18. That is home. I'm grown, not flown. I take a lot of pride in it, being from there. So,
tell me about how that upbringing in Hawaii shaped your sense of identity and influenced you into the path of acting.
It's a very unique way to grow up because it's arguably the most diverse place in the world. I mean, I haven't been everywhere in the world, but it's very obviously very diverse. The history is so rich with a lot of different cultures. But since I grew up in that, I was used to it. So I didn't struggle with, as a kid with identity. And I know a lot of people that grew up in other places that are mixed race and maybe 3 or 4 or more ethnicities. And they've talked about, struggling a little bit to fit in or their identity and, perhaps a little bit of issues at school because they looked different. For me, I never had to go through that because everyone was so diverse. I mean, I have 8 different ethnicities, but that's still on the upper end. But it was just, I was used to that. And how it kind of led me to acting, it didn't really lead me to that. That was kind of my own venture. And I did want to be a good representation for people at home and people with a lot of different ethnicities. And growing up, we didn't really have a lot of that on screen. And even now, I do still fight that battle today with a lot of people not knowing what I am. And even, casting, directors, producers, things like that. A lot of times, I mean, that's been a whole whirlwind of experiences, but they still don't really know what someone like me coming from that culture, what we are. So that's the challenges I'm going through today. But I'm very grateful for growing up there because it's unique and not everybody had that privilege to grow up in such a diverse culture.
When you came to the mainland, what was it like? Did you experience culture shock, or was it kind of like, oh, it's actually a bigger version of Hawaii from what I've seen as far as growing up with the multi-ethnicity? Or do you see that it's a lot different?
I definitely experienced culture shock, which I was fine with. I was prepared for. So before I embarked on my acting journey, I went to college in Tacoma, Washington, which is a little south of Seattle. And that was my first experience of living away from home, away from my Hawaii style lifestyle. And I was just there going to school. I was a student athlete. I also played football there. So I was a collegiate athlete and student. But that was my first time of culture shock. And I was expecting it because my parents always told me, hey, when you go to the mainland, it's different. The culture is different. We're very different here. When you go there, you're going to experience different things. And the main thing that I experienced that was different was the people, not necessarily in a bad way, but culture and how you grow up. It's very community-like back at home in the Hawaiian Islands. The spirit of aloha, has always been given back and forth, and that mutual respect is always there. In other places in the mainland, I definitely found that it seems to be a little more free for all. Everyone's kind of, going out for themselves and things like that, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, but that's the culture difference. The main one that I ran into was like everyone's kind of, doing their own thing and worried about themselves, which can be a great thing too. And now as I'm entering my more adulthood years, now I'm kind of bringing in both cultures and mixing it into one and trying to be the best of both worlds, maybe.
So how did that impact you directly? I mean, do you feel like it was right when you landed, or maybe a few months in or later on? Like how did that impact you? And then did it shape your understanding of what it means to be multi-ethnic in terms of your identity?
It did. In general, it wasn't challenging because I think the people around me, I had good people around me, and I had a good, I was on the football team as well. So everyone's kind of like that brotherhood of being accepting of one another and having each other's backs. But it did affect me quickly. I mean, as soon as, arriving on campus, just a lot of different, I mean, not only physical, not only different ethnicities that maybe I haven't been around, but mostly I was the different one. A lot of people were asking me, what are you? Like, who are you? Oh, you're from Hawaii. Like, oh, you're Hawaiian. I even had some people ask me if I needed a passport and things like that. I was like, oh my goodness. Um, so that was a big shock. I was like, really? You guys didn't learn about that history? Interesting. People asking me if it's like a different country. I'm like, wow, that's different. You should really learn that. And, but really explaining to people that I am Hawaiian, I have Hawaiian blood, but also that's kind of like a little smidge of me. I'm actually mostly Japanese, Chinese, Filipino, with the Hawaiian in there as well, with some European things in there as well. But I think most people are like, "Oh, you're Hawaiian. You're from Oahu. You're Hawaiian." And then some people will
Mm,
be like, "Wait, really? You're Hawaiian? You look kind of Japanese to me." And I'm like,
mm,
"Well, it's funny you say that. I am." Um, and and then other people are like, "Oh, I know so and so is from Hawaii too. They're Hawaiian." I'm like, "No, actually, he's not. He's just Chinese." Or like, and having that conversation was always really hard, and trying to avoid argument was kind of hard. Just with young college students who didn't know any better and just trying to argue like what's Hawaiian, what's not, and what's Asian and what's not. And yeah, I think a lot of those conversations I had to ignore at
mm.
the time because it would just make me upset.
Does your multi-heritage, and it's amazing, like I really admire you having those kinds of backgrounds because I feel like you could connect with so many different kinds of people where I'm just Korean American. I can't, it's hard for me to have a tangent of different diversities to really connect with. Does that guide you? Does that multi-ethnic eccentric individuality of yourself guide you and influence like the kind of stories you want to tell or what you want to see like in the industry?
That's been a very difficult and complicated journey for me, actually. To answer that question, it does guide me. Like, I would love to play. I always want to represent my backgrounds. A lot of people, when I hear stories of other maybe ethnically diverse people, they always say, "Oh man, I just want to read for everything. I want to read for every role. I don't want it to be zeroed in as Japanese American or Chinese American or Pacific Islander." Like, they're like, "I just want to read for anything. Open ethnicity, I want to go for it and just read for it. I don't care what it is that they want. I want to do it." Me, I've kind of taken a lot of pride in when I see the breakdowns come in, the emails of what auditions I have. If I see it specified as Pacific Islander or Chinese American or Japanese American, I get really excited about those because I feel like I can really tap into who I am and what I feel, and I feel like I can really accurately represent that. So that's really guided me and shaped me into the stories that I want to tell. Because once I see that, I'm like, I feel like I got a good shot. I feel like I can really be me. I can really do what I know, and I can be my authentic self. And sometimes I find myself maybe for an audition or something that's not specified on what they want, and I'm reading the script and I'm like, I'm pretty sure they just brought me in here to read just to be fair, because I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't really know. I'm reading the name here, and that's not what I'm gonna be, and of course, sure enough, the audition, I worked so hard on it, and then crickets on it, right? And then I see who got cast, and I'm like, yeah, like I knew that. So yes, it has shaped what I want to tell and what stories I want to be a part of and things like that. But it really has been complicated, even as of late. It's been very complicated in that realm of I've had, oh my goodness, probably like four or like 5 or 6 times, really, people are asking me how Japanese I am. Technically, I don't think they're supposed to ask that, but people are asking like, is he half Japanese? Is he? And I'm like, I mean, I'm like 40 something percent. It's not 50, but it's right there. And it's like, okay. And, and then there's been so many times of like, oh man, he just doesn't seem like island boy enough. Like he seems like Asian. Like he seems like such like an action figure, like a martial artist. Like he's so like that. He doesn't really seem like he's an island boy. That's been said to me a few times, and I'm just like, wow, man, like I grew up, that is me. I grew up in that. That's 0 to 18 island boy to the core. And I wasn't given those roles because of, oh, he doesn't seem like he's island boy enough. And I'm like, okay, ouch. That used to hurt me. Maybe like years ago, that used to really bother me. But now I kind of let that go. But that being in between of like, oh, he seems quite Hawaiian, for the Asian roles. He seems quite Hawaiian. I don't know. And then for the Hawaiian roles, he seems quite Japanese. Seems quite Chinese, and I'm like, oh my goodness, guys, please, like, so that's been complicated. But I've grown a lot from those experiences, and I'm still here, plugging away, chugging away, and I know when I get my shot, because I've given my shot, I've gotten my opportunity before, and the next one will come. And when that happens, I'll be able to say my piece and hopefully educate people on what I am and people who are like me, what we are.
I've been down that road before, and I think in the past, because I've been acting for 20 years, it was a bit more colorblind, if that's the right phrase to use, in terms of they didn't, I guess, focus so much on the appearances or the actual ethnicity because they wanted the best actors. And,
Right.
Case in point, I did an episode of Y50 in 2010, and it was a very specific one for Japanese internment, characters. And the family that they had assembled, my co-star, who was Japanese American, then the two kids that played with us as a family, one was supposed to be 16 or 17-ish, and the other kid was supposed to be just around 9, and they were completely mixed. They were not any, 100% Japanese American or 100% Chinese or whatever. They were just completely mixed. So in the back of my head, I thought, okay, when the audience sees this family on screen, are they going to believe that they're really our children? Because they don't look anything like us at all.
Yeah.
But it wasn't an issue because for them, they wanted the best actors to play those kids. And I'm sure they went through probably those discussions, a lot of different casts, but they ended up casting them. And well, as far as I know, I didn't see any commentary or pushback from any of the community people saying like, why did they cast those kids like mixed from the two, mother and father that got cast? They look believably whatever Japanese American, but
Right.
these kids were completely like yourself. Like the son who played my son, the eldest son, he looked like you. And so interesting. So it's interesting now that it's very different. Case in point, and this is the last thing, I'll move on. But like there was a AMC show called Terror, and they put out a casting notice. They will not see any actors that are not of complete Japanese American descent. And so I couldn't read for that, even though I've played tons of Japanese American characters before with a resume. I was not allowed to read for that. And it was hard because wow, what's the shift that's happened where they're just becoming so ethnocentric. And anyway,
that's where it gets hard. That's where it gets weird. That's where it gets dicey.
Yeah. So for you being cast as Blue Ranger in the Power Rangers Dino Fury, and being the first actor from Hawaii of Hawaiian descent to join that, what was that like for you?
That was so exciting. I was so happy, and I never thought I would get that role, honestly. Not because I thought I was incapable, but it just always seemed like, I don't know if that's going to be me. And I was also right at the point where when I booked that, I was about to turn 23, and I was looking like I could play a teenager for sure, but I was kind of like on the line of like, okay, if this audition process went on like a year later, I don't know if it would have worked. So I was so stoked that it happened at that time, because I was like, oh man, I was right at the borderline of like, I feel like I'm not going to be able to do it anymore. And then it happened, and then I just got so excited because all the kids in my life, all the kids at home, all the Hawaii boys and girls who are at home that know me, because it's close knit community and all the families know each other, and it's always, oh yeah, I know your mom, I know your dad, I know your uncle, I know your sister, yeah, everything. So I knew it was going to be so fun just to inspire all of them. And I have a lot of little cousins at home too, and I was just so excited for that. The work is really for them on a show like that. I'll be honest, like as an actor, it's not mature work. It's not like I'm really like challenging my craft a whole bunch. It's really about just being energetic, enthusiastic, which I can tell you right now, sometimes it's really hard, just from firsthand experience, like acting in that style can be quite difficult sometimes. And but I did it. I did it for 3 seasons, and I'm just so happy. I felt it was a huge privilege to be able to be that representation for, I mean, all the ethnicities that I have, all of the backgrounds that I have. I'm happy they got to see that, especially as Hawaii kids who are mixed like me. So I was so happy for that. I'd do it again. I really would.
What do you wish people in the industry understood more about cultural nuance and race representation, if you were able to, say something about that?
Well, I think this part that has nothing to do with the career. I wish more people knew why. And I think a lot of people, that's the main thing. I think awareness to that. A lot of people look at me so confused, you know, like what, how did that happen? How is that even possible? How do you have 8 different ethnicities? I don't know about that. Education is the big one. I wish I could just let people know, like, that was just like, as soon as you meet me, here, guys, read this. But for example, the Hawaiian Islands, the sugarcane plantations came about back in the day, and that's when immigrants came in from Japan, China, Puerto Rico, uh, Portugal, the Philippines, and then there was already the Westerners that came, from Europe and America, and they're all coming there, and of course, all of those ethnicities in one. People build relationships, kids, all that kind of stuff. So over time, you get things like this sometimes. So I wish more people could just, look that up and then they could know. And then as far as representation for roles and acting, I wish, instead of getting all nitpicky with certain things, I wish it wasn't. But then sometimes people aren't very nitpicky with things. And it's really, I don't know if there's much that I can do or anybody can really do about it. It's really just each production is different. They have different people in charge, and whoever's making the decisions are going to make the decisions. It's really just, I don't really know if I can control that. I don't know if anybody can. I wish we could. But through my experiences, I can't. So I think really I just have to be me and who I am, and whatever happens, happens.
I mean, you said the key word education. So, in your career going forward and continuing to discover stories that you want to tell, it's so important to use those as a piece of education so that people can
Mhm.
see you are a real Hawaiian kid. This is the norm with the multi-ethnicity, plethora of culture that you have. And, when you do stories about your family, about friends, about things that have happened in your own experiences, that's a way to educate the masses about Hawaii and what Hawaii is. And I think that, find ways to have opportunity to do that. I want to transition a little bit into, I was a, I was a junior Olympic Taekwondo silver medalist, 1992, throwing it back. So I
Wait,
know
you were?
you,
No way.
yeah,
Let's
I
go.
was back in the day, I
Ah,
mean, I'm a lot older than you, but back in the day, yes, I was a silver medalist, Junior Olympics, 1992.
that makes me so
I got,
excited. Oh,
I
let's
got
go.
knocked out. I got knocked out. I'm not gonna lie, I got knocked out for the gold medal round.
Oh
But
man.
I know you got Taekwondo skills. Tell me about. Do you love doing more martial art roles, or is that something you kind of see like, as a certain point you want to maybe not have to do that anymore because it might, typecast you, or do you want to
Mm.
do it for the rest of your life like a Jason Statham? He still can rock it, man. He's old, but he got
Yeah,
that skill still.
yeah, yeah. First of all, I just want to say I'm so excited to learn that about you. That's so awesome. Ah,
Cool.
I'm still great. I love Taekwondo. Taekwondo is my favorite. And to answer your question on that, I really, if I could pick and choose my career and how it goes, that's exactly what I'd want to do. That really is my dream. I want to be on those action things. I love looking up to those people, Jackie Chan, Jet Li. I mean, obviously Bruce Lee too, but Jason Scott Lee, and then obviously, Jason Statham, as you said, not really my type of prototype actor, but yes, things like that. I love that. Um, that's a journey, and I would like to do that. I think it started off kind of on par with Power Rangers and things like that. And I did a Disney show called Villains of Valley View, which I did a lot of action and fighting too. So I've kind of been on that. It kind of seems to be the thing that I do get cast in. But yes, that is what I'd want to do, really, forever. I mean, I would do anything. I'm a young actor that, well, not as young anymore, but still young going in there. I'm on this
You're young.
journey.
Come on, man. You're
Yeah,
young, dude.
yeah,
What are you talking about?
yeah. Forever, forever. I'm gonna do this forever because I've just given so much to it, and it's no time to stop now. It's really there's no going back now. I'm in too deep. Um, I will do whatever. I'm at a point where I really can't be choosy. I'm not at a point where I can choose anything, but that is what I would like to do. Those action things, stunts, not too many stunts. We'll say that, but
Sorry, folks. We had a little technical difficulties, so we had to resume by changing the camera and getting our apparatus set up. So, Kainalu, thank you so much for your patience. But we want to get back to talking about Taekwondo and how that discipline of martial arts really helped you as a performer and as a person.
Taekwondo and other martial arts in general, I always feel like it's just a good thing for people in life. And I always feel like my acting career has been like a direct correlation of the things that I'm learning in my life. So martial arts, acting, my life, it's always been like everything I'm learning in one, I'm kind of learning in the other. So that's how it's helping me with that. I mean, Taekwondo takes a lot of discipline, a lot of training to get better, and it's very just day in and day out. You got to do the same things every day. And just because you're doing the same things every day doesn't mean you're going to see results the next day or the next day or the next day. It might be a couple months from now. So, how that shaped me and how that's helped me in my life and career has been just that. It's just been day in and day out, doing the same things, always working on it. And you might lose motivation sometimes, but you have to keep the discipline to keep on going.
The Power Rangers series that wasn't filmed in New Zealand, was it?
That was in New Zealand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, while you were there, I'm sure, again, another it's multi-ethnic, community and culture there, I guess, in New
Yeah.
Zealand. You connected deeply with the Maori crew members, right?
I connected so deeply with them. I mean, I think the cultures of, because the Maori descendants and Hawaiian descendants, Maori is the younger Polynesian culture. So it went from, there was Samoa, Tahiti, and then the Hawaiian Islands, and then New Zealand or Aotearoa is the youngest of the Polynesian bloodline and things like that. So when I was there with Maori people, with the land, I honestly like it. It sounds pretty spiritual and stuff, but I really connected with the people there and the land there because I think it's just being from Hawaii and having Hawaiian blood and being there, it just felt it's called the mana. People call it the mana. So in Hawaiian culture, it's mana. Even Maori culture, it's mana. It's the same word. And you kind of feel that in your body and your spirit. So I was very taken care of over there and I felt very nice. And I really want to go back. I want to book another project that films there and spend more time.
I can imagine that just must have been a deeply spiritual, culturally uplifting experience. And
Hmm.
I'm sure you learned so much that just not only related to your own cultural heritage, but then just obviously the history of the Pacific Islands itself, and just the migration of people and how people migrated to all the different settlements in the islands and stuff. Yeah.
Hmm.
So looking ahead, what are you most excited about? What's on the horizon as far as stories or characters? What do you really want to, like? I guess your dream project that you could work on. I guess going forward. What are you looking for?
Dream project. I mean, no specific project that I have a, dream about, but my dream type of project is for sure, definitely, oh man, Jackie Chan-esque, um, Jason Scott Lee-esque, those kind of things. I mean, I even am into like, network TV and like crime shows and things like that. I always like that. I think that's always cool. I always find myself being like, man, I would love to do that. That's cool. But really, the best thing, if I could really choose, is definitely action-based shows, martial arts-based shows. I would really love to connect my experience as a Taekwondo martial artist. And there are people that do that already, but the thing that kind of makes me unique is the Taekwondo that I do is, as you know, Olympic sport Taekwondo. So I'm really not into the whole like tricking thing. There's a lot of talented people out there, a lot of Cobra Kai guys that can do a bunch of like a lot of tricking kicks, a lot of spins and twirls and really cool, impressive things. That's actually not really my forte. Mine is actually the fighting aspect of it. I go in there and I get kicked in my head and face, and hopefully I do it more to the other guy than myself. But that makes my agents a little scared sometimes, but I love it. I love it. I'm getting ready for the national tournament in July, actually. So training camp starts today. So that's
Nice.
going to be crazy. But I would love to kind of integrate that and kind of show like those movements, because fighting and sparring movements are very different than the tricking movements. And I think one day, if I ever had the means, if I ever was big enough to maybe choreograph my own thing, it would definitely be to incorporate that. So all the Taekwondo sparring people that do that, they would watch it and be like, oh man, I see what he did there. So that's my
Yeah,
dream.
man. Yeah. Well said. Well said. So, got some lightning round fun questions for you. Ready?
All right,
So
let's go.
basically, either the one or the other you got to answer. Here we go.
Okay.
On your day off, surfing or hiking?
Surfing.
Which actor would you love to train with for a fight scene? Donnie Yen or Jet Li?
Oh, I can't be lightning with this. I'll go Donnie Yen because it, man, for sure. I'll go Donnie Yen, yeah.
One dish you could eat every day.
Anything either Japanese or Hawaii style. So, I mean, oh, this is not lightning. Chicken katsu. I love chicken katsu or meat jun. Those are very specific things, but yes.
Locomoco or spam musubi?
Musubi. Musubi.
Blue Ranger suit or black tie red carpet?
Blue Ranger suit.
Favorite place to relax back at home in Oahu now?
Oh. Okay, I'll give two. I have to. Ho'omaluhia Botanical Garden, which is a botanical garden in my hometown. Amazing view of the Ko'olau Mountains. I go there and get musubis, and I just put down a picnic mat and then just sit down and just look at the mountain and eat. It's the best. And then Sandy Beach on Oahu, which is like where I grew up learning how to bodyboard and surf and stuff. So those two.
Right on, right on. Well said. What's your social media? How can people connect with you? Website, Facebook? What's your handles?
Social media is the only one I have is Instagram, no TikTok, and it's just my name, Kainalu Moya. My full name,
Right on.
Kainalu Moya. Yeah.
Kainalu, man, thank you so much just for keeping it real and being on the show today, man. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was a lot of fun.
So once again, I want to thank my guest, Kainalu Moya, for joining me on today's show. Now, we would love to hear from you, our valid listeners, about any suggestions for future guests or topics. Don't forget to subscribe to our program on your favorite podcast platform and follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and our YouTube channel. Asian Pacific Voices Radio is produced by Asian Culture Media Alliance, a nonprofit that empowers the Asian Pacific American communities with a voice through media arts. If you would like to support our program, please visit acmasocal.org. I'm Arnold Chun. Please join us next week for another round of exciting and thought-provoking Asian Pacific Voices radio show. Until then, take care, everyone.